as we mentioned before, Brian, you have a book out.
I do.
Another book.
Another.
Is it pre-order or is it actually?
It's out.
I have a package. It's Brian's. I need to say that differently. I got a package from Brian. No, wait, that's not good either.
Did it arrive? I know you ordered a paperback. Did it arrive already?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
that was quick.
The other day, yeah, it was like 1 day delivery, dude. I got it right away.
Nice. I sent my book to AC like 2 weeks ago.
Still don't got it. Yeah, I don't know where it is.
Did you send it via African carrier pigeon or
what is the
Raven
title of
from
this
Game of Thrones
book we speak of?
My new one, Book of Yvonne and Yvois, Record of the Paladins.
Yeah, Record of Paladins series. So I think all of us have. I think we all listened to it. We did the Audible.
That'd be Book of Oliver. Book of Oliver's the first,
Book of Oliver.
One.
The
first one.
I also got my other copy of Book of Oliver because I gave it to somebody. I still can't remember who.
Is the second one on Audible now?
It's in production. So just insider knowledge. If you use Audible as your primary distribution for your audiobook, you use a service called ACX. And ACX needs you to publish it as at least an ebook first. It will not let you start production until the ebook's produced first. Then the ebook can be converted via the actor you hire, or you can do it yourself if you want, into an audiobook. So there's a process behind it. So he was not allowed to touch it until I at least put it in pre-order status like a few weeks ago. And now it takes him 2 or 3 months to produce it. Yeah. So maybe September, I don't know.
It is kind of fun listening to books on Audible, because some of them are old enough that they had to be converted from cassette tapes into digital. And I was listening to The Wheel of Time recently, and they forgot to take out the intro of one of the cassettes. It's like cassette 6, 3 hours long. They took out all of them except for one. I was like, I'm so glad it's still there.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
But then I wasn't even halfway through. I'm like, to listen to this book, they had to have 13 or 14 cassettes. Yeah. Holy sweet mother!
I'm picturing the guy who did the editing listening to him oh no, I'm gonna get fired.
And then they never
I missed the cassette intro.
And they never proofed it, so he kept his job.
The Audible boys show up with the baseball bats. All right, so we're going to hit you in the throat, in the knee. What are we doing here?
Well, Brian, do you mind? Can you give us a little pitch of the series and then the second book, I guess?
Yeah.
However you want to do it.
So the series follows my version of the modern day paladin, and in my version of it, they are humans with angelic powers that allows them to do things that help them combat demonic forces in modern times. And the powers can range from impressive strength, predictive sight, sensory, and as each book is going to reveal one, except for book 2, that's 2 paladins that are new to the group. And as we go along, we're following an overarching story that gets us from basically 2013 into about 2020 when the world ends.
We're here for the world to end, huh?
The weird end.
There's zero real world influence in this book. There's not a Nancy Pelosi character in this book.
Oh no.
There's definitely not an evil Taylor Swift or Taylor Swift.
No Swift.
So I enjoyed it. I think all the boys enjoyed it.
Yep.
And I know we always have guests on the show and we just so happen to like their books or whatever, but honestly, we probably wouldn't ask them to come on if we didn't like their book.
You should just give them a hard time. It'd be great. Just bash them for 10 minutes.
Actually, we've tricked you. We're here to talk to you about how much it sucks. Yes. The roast of Brian McCoppin and his books. This filthy Christian messaging ruining the gay youth.
What kind of name is Oliver? Worst name, frankly.
It means
what is he? A skateboard move? Is he? You put him on my pizza.
Also, Roland displaying very toxic masculine behavior.
Yeah. So it is a very targeted book series, right? So it's obviously to a Christian fan base.
Yeah.
Which you have to target an audience because you can't please everyone. Yeah. So because like I mentioned to them when I was reading it, it's like. I'm agnostic, but that type of stuff does not turn me off. But I was like, oh, this could very obviously turn something off. So it is kind of interesting. You know,
it's prominent enough that it would be hard to ignore if you're very much against that kind of fiction.
Yeah. I'm kind of up there with Bats too, and I wrote a glowing review of it on my Substack because I thought it was awesome. You know,
absolutely glowing.
Great. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I gotta remember to write reviews on people. I always feel bad.
Oh, indies live off of reviews too. And I'm so bad about writing them. I wrote one for Daniel P. Riley the other day, and everybody loved it. I'm like, why don't I do this all the time? Because I'm
this is what you need to do, because this is what made me do it. When I made the video talking about the Black Crown from John, I later got a message from him. He's like, "Hey, can you write a review?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, yeah, okay, yeah, I got it right now." You know, it's call to action. It works. You know, if nobody's like telling me to do something, I'm probably gonna.
Well, I got a call to action. If anybody who's listening has not read book 1, it's a free download right now.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And was the audiobook still discounted too? Because it was last time we talked.
It was like $8 last time I checked it, so it might be cheap still.
That's a bargain. That's hard to find.
Normally it's like 18. So
yeah, and it's
less than $1 an hour.
Yeah, it's a 9-hour book. So yeah.
Only cost that much to produce.
So I can tell you a story about that too. So when I put my first book out for production, you have people reach out to you with audition. Like I wrote 3 scripts and they read the scripts to me, and I had 40+ people reach out. It was really cool. And then my family, we had fun looking them up because a lot of them have IMDb profiles. Like one guy was on an episode of The Office. One guy was on a few Star Trek episodes. So like it's legit actors that, you know, they don't have a salary, so they do side work to keep the money flowing in. So this is neat to run across all these people. What do you guys think of the guy we chose? My daughters actually chose him.
I like that.
Pretty good.
I thought he was able to do the voice of young and old Oliver well. It's hard to do a young child character and or female characters, and I thought he did everything as a base level of adequate and at a high level very, very good.
Yep.
It's funny too. Like one of the scripts was the first, like the opening chapter, white, the desert screamed white. So my daughters have heard that at least 100 times. So they walk in the room, they're like, "Dad, white, the desert screamed white."
It's a good opening, man.
I don't really even care too much like how good they are. It's like
what
specific people. Well, it's like how good they are about grabbing my attention. So it's like if their voices, like their different voices don't really sound well, like I don't really care so much about that. I care if they're like are using like distinct cadences, I guess, or whatever. So I know it's a different person. Like even like what's the guy's name?
That's Roy. What a good voice is, Bat Sauce. What are you?
Yeah, but some people have really nice sounding voices, and sometimes people also can like sound like a different gender or something like that. But it's not capturing me well. It's like a different skill set, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you can. I understand what you mean. I've heard
worded that horribly.
Well, if the voice is good, that implies the inflection is also distinct. A good voice is the distinct voice. You can easily tell one from another.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It doesn't hurt to be good at accents too. If you can do like Irish accent, French accent, Russian accent, African accent, Australian.
Hey, they're after me, Lucky Charms. Hey.
I mean, those are all different characters technically, and then you just figure out how to do male and female. There you go.
Yeah.
Female voices are hard if you have a deep masculine presence.
I was going to say, it's always kind of weird to me because either they don't do it well and it sounds weird, or they do it well and then I'm like, this is a different kind of weird, but both are weird to me.
Roy Dutrice somehow convincingly a woman.
Roy Dutrice voicing passionately a sex scene.
Yeah.
It's one of the funniest damn things I've ever heard.
It's Grandma.
A song about...
He's the Song of Ice and Fire.
He died now, but he's one of the most prolific guys of all time. Yeah.
He's an old British guy, and when he's doing like a little girl, it's just
he went harder than that, like way harder.
Yeah.
In character.
I want Werner Herzog.
But the book, sorry. So I'm big on power systems, and I will say this is specifically categorizing this. This is a Christian urban fantasy, right? So it's taking today's place and time. Just some different stuff kind of like mystical stuff happening in the background.
It's actually future nonfiction.
I'm big into power systems, and one of the things I liked about this, the power system was interesting, unique. Like they had like minor powers, I guess I would say. Like nobody was like OP, right?
Well,
like,
they're not like punching a mountain and like leveling the battlefield. Like it's
something small that gives them just like a really good edge, right? Like being able to see shadows to see where the next movement's gonna happen. It's cool. I like it. I dig it, and I like how they have like the unique powers for each different paladin or type of paladin, I guess, depending on their archangel.
Oh, you caught that well.
Yeah, I'm a power system guy, man.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to be like, if could you walk by one and not know they're a paladin? Yeah, that's what I want. I don't,
yeah.
Except for maybe Roland, who's 6'6" and 330, but other than him being the size of the biggest linebacker ever.
Yeah. Plus, he only speaks in verse. He sticks out more than most. We'll say
more than most.
You could hear him and know he's a paladin. Like, who just said that? It must be a paladin.
It's like everybody else walks into a room. He walks. Wait,
yeah, it's a paladin.
The dude just ordered Taco Bell with a Bible verse. What the hell?
How do you do that?
Why did you have a Bible with giant chains? Why is it like a 19 by 30-inch Bible? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you want to have like your distinct, interesting characters. It's like, yeah, we got a guy who literally just speaks some Bible verses, and it's like, okay, more.
It's like someone on the street. Someone on the street. You want to make fun of him? No.
I'm not sure what that guy just said, but I'm fucking scared.
I'm following that guy.
Who shit my pants? Anyway.
But yeah, and also it's like you can always see like when people's interests and stuff like that bleeds out into the book, and it's just like, this guy loves America. Okay. Wobbles guns. All right.
Yeah, let's go.
He has the stars on the shirt. Yeah. He has the hat, the flag on the hat, the flag in the background, and most importantly, the flag on his heart.
If you're going to learn to shoot, you're going to this state right here. This is the state to learn how to shoot.
This man's been wrestling gators since before you were a twinkle in your daddy's eye.
What's funny is whenever I was reading about the part where they're in Ireland and there's like all this gushing about Ireland, I'm like, Ireland's all right, I guess. And then they come to America, like, America's great too. I'm like, okay, we're good.
I know, like my national pride was being this close to being offended partway through.
Yeah, and then I'm sitting there like, why am I having this reaction? This is so ridiculous. But yeah,
it's from a fake character in a book, and like, then we go to America, and he's like, this is the most beautiful. Like America has the most beautiful, like wide countries and national parks of anywhere in the world. It's like, okay, you cool.
It did make me want to visit Ireland though, like reading about it, because your passion comes across. I'm like, man, I gotta go to Ireland. This place sounds cool. People sound nice.
I've been looking for leprechauns my entire life. I dated one that could have been once. Who knows? But anyway. Oh yeah, but no, talking about your books and talking about like marketing and selling yourself. You we talked about this on your show too, Brian, but you have the shield symbol and the cross on the shields, and that's a very easily identifiable, very popular, like very visually aesthetic and meaningful. Yeah, see, like right behind Justine right there.
Very sexy. It's nice to like we'll wear it just around my family, and they're like, "Oh, look at the Crusaders." Like, well, how about Paladins? And I got bookmarks, so I'll carry my pocket. Like, hey, check me out, man. Was
it you who was putting them in your books in the store the other day?
Yeah, I'll go into.
I knew that was you.
Like, why not? Why not? It's
that's actually a really good way to market stuff. I like that.
That's a great idea.
You find books that are kind of in your genre. Like, here's a bookmark, man.
I gave you a pretty good deflection for the Crusaders thing with the cross of Saint whoever. I gotta look it up.
Yeah, I was going to say on the back it actually says I hate Muslims, but that's a whole different. No.
Like talking about selling your book, right? And how important it is to have like symbols or easily identifiable pictures to relate it to something else. I mean, I got the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor of the Marine Corps, which is extremely recognizable. Yeah. Can anyone tell me what the symbol of the Army is?
No.
No.
SNF.
What are the Navy, right?
Isn't it
Snake.
green?
No, it's just Army, I think. It's just written out.
It's just
It's
words.
like all the other branches are.
I know it now that I'm looking at it. It's the star. It's a gold outline on a white star with a black
The
background.
star is like.
Mm,
Yeah, I've seen the star, but yeah, it's like they don't have like an Army symbol. It's like same thing with the Navy. They don't have like a Navy symbol. Like what's the Marine Corps symbol? Eagle, globe, and anchor.
the sigil.
For advertising purposes, it's huge. That's why like a lot of these other
Huge,
branches are
frankly, way better than the other branches.
There's like certain vocabulary we can't say on the show without triggering Kahuna.
I can't. I don't mean to.
all the world feared the golden eagle of Rome at one point. So yeah.
You know, it's funny. I'm looking at these other flags, man. They're actually pretty cool. We should know them because they're the Navy one. It's cool. It's like there's a boat. And it's got
it's a big boat.
Yeah. Boat with a bird.
Yeah,
and a
show
boat,
us
like,
those seamen.
Bird and a
What
boat.
year? When is it changed?
Oh, and that was the
Here,
cross,
pull it
of,
up. I'll
the cross of St. George, by the way, MacGuffin. That's what it was. St. George. It's easy to remember because George. Washington.
There's every saint has their own unique cross too. So it's like you're gonna run across a cross.
What kills me about like cross symbology is that the devil symbol is the upside down cross. I'm like, that's actually technically St. Peter's cross, right?
Yeah.
I was
Respectful,
gonna say.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, how did they They also stole the rainbow, so who knows? But moving on.
Then people get the Star of David mixed up with the pentagram. Like, no, it's the Star of David. That's a Jewish symbol. Like, that's 6 points, not 5, you moron.
These pagans are satanic.
Oh, how long have you practiced witchcraft? I'm Jewish.
Jewish?
Yeah, but it's like all these symbols, like even the 5-star, or even that's been used in Christianity too, I think. But it is always interesting with the history of symbology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all that.
No, what you look for is symbology.
It's cool because if you see the Paladin shield, we instantly know Brian McCabe.
That was the
that's good.
Long-term goal behind it. Because even though Oliver is the first character, the first cover had his gun. Book 12 is going to have that on it. So is book 11. You'll see.
Bro, I'm so stoked, dude.
My wife's cracking the whip. She's seeing the sales on book 2, like, get book 3 out, get book 3 out.
Yep.
You know, that whole time I read book 2, I thought it was Ivan and Ivore.
French. You find out her mom's French. That's where Ewok comes from.
Spoilers.
It's Ebony and Ivory.
Justin, don't worry. I once read an entire quadrilogy of books about a dude in Africa, and I thought his name was Scene. S-E-A. Yeah, it's Sean.
S-E-A-N? Oh, Sean.
Yeah. I thought his name was Scene for a full 4 freaking books.
I thought the girl's name was Sioban, but it was actually Siobhan. Or Cersei, but it's actually Saoirse.
Oh, bro.
I did the same thing with Aragon's counterpart in the Aragon books. The
Saphira?
No, not the dragon. Like the bad dragon rider. That's like his brother, kind of like.
Oh yeah.
I did that with him, and then also Kitiara or whatever, Kitaria or whatever from Dragonlance. I still am butchering that probably, but
fantasy gets tricky because you have made up freaking words.
Yeah. That's why you got to be smart with that too. A good fantasy writer is good for obvious reasons that you can't quite put your finger on, and one of those could be just I can actually pronounce his world.
And then you have Tolkien.
We got like Frank Herbert puts a glossary in the back of his book. Here's all the words, what they mean, how to say them.
Yeah. There was one book where there was a character whose name was like a mess of letters, and most of the other ones you can kind of figure out. And when they got to that character, there was a joke in the world where they're like, "How do you say your name? Like, what is this? This isn't common." And then they teach the person the book. I'm like, "Oh, thank you," and then kept going. And I knew I was like, "I'm probably saying it right now."
Well,
that was clever.
Razor Fist did that in his book. He had his character. His name is Xerxes, but it's spelled with an X. And I'm like, why would you make it the hardest? Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's like, is his name Zerdes?
Yeah, all right, Seabats. I believe in gender equality. No, let's go.
Now do we?
That's awesome.
No, all right. So, what do we think the high?
Based.
Let's play some Brian here a little bit. What do we think? Like some of the highlights of the book would be?
Oh, Brian's
maybe
book?
not just a certain, not like a specific, maybe not a specific scene, but like aspect or something like that. Yeah, Brian's book. We're talking about Brian's book.
I was just checking, man. Calm down. First book, the father-son relationship stood out maybe the most to me. The organic kind of journey, the unusual circumstances, but the idyllic in some ways relationship. How all the characters were really tremendously good role models in some ways, but also imperfect as they would be in others. Yeah. And it was nice having a book where good guys, bad guys.
Yes.
Yeah. It's he often says it's PG-13, which is pretty on the money. He'll dive a little deeper into some details that are cool or like to convey that gritty feeling, but he'll also pull it back a little bit in some of the darker parts of the book, just so it's not too much, So, and like the details, like Evely asked me what I was going to think of the end of the book, and I'm like, yeah, it's a boss battle, man. I'm down with the boss battle. It's cool, and like you got the details in there too, Like I think I heard you tell me that you had your dad come out and help reenact one of the fighting scenes so you could visualize it better, and that kind of thing shows throughout the entire book, like down to the descriptions of the setting and stuff like that. So
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention these two words: demon beavers.
It's one
everybody loves them. I know.
Monty is minding her own business somewhere in the world, and her hair on the back of her neck just stood up. She's like, what?
No, I think that they're a good representation of the level of like creativity that goes into some of the enemies they're coming across. And it's not just like whenever you think demon, I'm like Doom, maybe it's a red guy with like hooves or something, or like a shadowy figure with eyeballs or something that are weird. But there's a lot more to it than that. And I like the creativity. And that goes, I think, throughout the book with the powers and the history of the paladins and all that. I think it's got some really interesting ideas in it as well.
Nice.
I mean, tomato, demon beavers, bad women. We all, everybody has their own iconography and wording, but
demon beavers. That's right.
So, for myself, I think it's just the fight scenes, right? I think the fight scenes just were really well written, well executed, and like there's some other books, some other authors we've heard about that, with guns, it's very simple,
really
right?
excellent covers, yes.
And it's disappointing when no research is done, right? And like I feel like a lot of this may have come from experience, but obviously we all try to research when we do books. But it's one book referred to a magazine as a clip, right? And I'm instantly out. Like that's such an easy thing. Like you obviously aren't a gun person. Very obviously not a gun person. Did you not try to Google what it's called? Like, why would you like that to me is like, that's almost insulting to me. Like, why would, like every time I research anything, I'm like, okay, this person's using heat powers at what temperature about is somebody going to pass out from heat or something like that, right? Like I'm going to have to like look that up. And it feels like, no research is done. And this, you're getting into details about the grain used in the bullet, like very, very specific stuff. And I'm like, okay. He knows his stuff. All right. He did his research.
Somebody use ChatGPT.
I mean, I'm a shooter as well, so I that's.
You could tell.
You know what I used to say to piss off all. You know what I used to say to piss off all my shooting buddies? Pass me the magazine clip. I call it bold. Never failed to piss them off every single time.
It's like it's the most like overly blown like gotcha moment once a newbie calls it a clip and they're like, it's a magazine, and then like newbies that no guns for 2 seconds, they'll start to call other people out. So it's like when I see that specifically in a book, I'm like, how did you miss that, dude? Google exists. Fuck Christ.
Like back in the day, I could have understood it. My dad would take people on bicycle tours at the top of Haleakala, and they would look over at Oahu and be like, "Is that Japan?"
Okay.
And he would do the responsible thing. Yeah, why, yes, it is. Like, no, like full bore, people would ask that more often than I'm comfortable saying. Imagine just having someone be able to lie that way to you, and you just buy it. You're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I could see it 3,000 miles across the ocean.
All right.
Maji says that she had to watch lots of instructional videos to visualize her fight scenes in her book. She's currently writing Legends of Shalar.
Maji, that's a good strategy. Have you tried getting punched in the face? That's how I did my research.
Listen, any author that writes like fight scenes or have people die in it, like their Google search, like I kind of just hope the cops don't see it.
How to hide a dead body, dissolve.
Did you ever as you're doing your research for your book, did you ever come across an interesting or surprising fact like that? Where you're like, oh, just something, I just need a throwaway thing here. And you're like, whoa, really?
Yes. A buttload is 146 gallons.
Oh, what is?
A buttload.
A buttload?
Yes, it's a real unit of measurement. It's 146 gallons. I believe
What is that in liters, though?
Roughly a shitload.
Bro, you're killing me. You had that in the chamber, bro. Ow.
Salt chamber.
He's like, I should have.
You just watched a clip from the Iron Seas podcast. Make sure to like this, subscribe, it helps us out a little bit. And please catch the show live at 9:30 Eastern every Tuesday.